This is part 3 of our epic RV trip from Pittsburgh to Seattle and back.
Now, at this point, we're heading back east toward Oregon and then through Utah.
And our RV is mostly in one piece.
Mostly.
The trip back home was less eventful. Our first night was in Baker City at the Mountain View RV Park. We wish we could have stayed longer in that area. We did get a chance to visit the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center that's just outside the town. One of the best parts was you get to see the ruts made by the prairie schooners as they neared the end of the Oregon Trail. On the way to Salt Lake City, we got off the beaten track to find a place for lunch.
So we just stopped at the Snug. We heard there's really good beer. And I think there must be, because I feel pretty tilted.
So where are we actually?
We are in Eden, Idaho. Ah, I remember.
You remember.
Yes, I did.
Smoke from the wildfires raging in California made for interesting sunsets. We stayed at the Mountain Shadows RV Park a little south of Salt Lake City that night, and the next day just took an Uber to get into the city and see some of the sights. We're a little limited because it was Sunday and most things were closed. Moab, Utah was maybe one of our favorite stops. We were only there 2 nights. We planned to go back. We loved the town and the surrounding area.
I am at Arches National Park in Utah, Moab, Utah. And I'm with this handsome man I picked up his motorcycle. And it's hot. It's 105.
Yeah, but it's even hotter when we put our motorcycle helmets on.
Yeah.
We went to Arches National Park on the day we got there, and then got up early in the morning and visited Canyonlands the next day. The views into the distant horizons were obscured by the smoke from the California wildfires even this far away. We ate dinner at a neat little Mexican place right in the town of Moab, and then prepared to move on the next morning.
So the day we were leaving Moab, we decided to go off the beaten trail and take a more scenic route. So we took Route 128, which follows the Colorado River, which was just majestic. It was so beautiful. Neither of us had ever seen the Colorado River. It was beautiful.
It was really a great drive all the way to Denver.
Ridge RV Park, which was a little outside of Denver. We never actually saw Denver, saving that for another trip. As we were setting up camp, we heard music and realized we were right across the street from a restaurant. Turns out it was a biker bar, but it had good food, good music, and they're really friendly. And as usual, by the time we left, Jean had made some new friends. Finishing the drive through Colorado looked a lot like driving through Kansas. Wasn't much to say for the next day. It was a short hop onto Kansas City, so we had time to take the scooter in that afternoon and see the city. We first stopped at a museum that held the relics from a steamboat that had been pulled up from the muck where the river used to be. But our main goal was to go on and see the American Jazz Museum at the famous corner of 18th and Vine. It's not a very big museum, but it's a nice cafe where you can sit and have a drink and listen to excellent live performances. We saw 2 different groups over a very short period of time. We also happened to be there during a monthly community fair, so that we got to enjoy the neighborhood and had a stack of some ribs. As we took the scooter back to our RV park, we stopped at a rib place for full dinner. It had been featured by Anthony Bourdain, although we liked the ribs at 18th and Vine better. When we got up the next morning, I checked our tire pressures and found the left front tire was at least 20 psi low. I filled it up and waited about an hour and checked it again. It was coming down slowly. It was Saturday afternoon. I was worried our chances of getting it fixed on a Saturday afternoon were pretty small, and our chances of getting it fixed on Sunday were roughly 0. But I called around, checked Google Maps, and found this Goodyear tire service really just a mile away. And that was close enough I was comfortable driving since the leak was very slow. I called them up and they said they're already booked for the afternoon. That's not too surprising. But when I told them what my situation was, they told us to go ahead, bring it in, and they'd have a look and see what they could do. They seemed amused that our RV didn't exactly fit in their garage, but they had a lift they could bring out, looked at the tire while we waited, and the whole thing took maybe an hour and a half. At the end of it, they even presented us with a small souvenir, the screw that actually caused the flat. So in 2 hours, we were on the road again. We drove right through Missouri and Illinois on our way to our last stop in Indiana. We were a little anxious to get home. We didn't stop at any of the various tourist sites. We even missed the world's largest pitchfork. We'll have to see that another day. Of course, we had to unload and the next day reload the John B. Sale. This is what the sliding door to our bedroom is supposed to work like. But on the last day it came off its runners. Fortunately, we were able to jimmy it open so Jean could get out of the bedroom, or I never would have heard the end of it. Or I could have left her in there.
So now it's the last day and we're finally home, heading back to Pittsburgh. And we drive into a torrential downpour. And naturally, I was driving.
She was so good at driving whenever the alarms were going off. I figured she could handle rain.
No good deed goes unpunished. Well, that's when we learned why you need a topper over your slide outs. In that heavy rain, all of the water that would have normally been sealed off just started pouring into the RV. Everything breaks.
There it is, big blue.
And then, after 5 weeks on the road, we found ourselves backing into our driveway and we were home. And much to our surprise, mostly in one piece.
Well, as much as we both love to travel, there's nothing sweeter than pulling up and seeing home sweet home.
Although we were looking forward to our winter trip to Florida.